Ghana's 16 regions, including Radio Wa in Wa, ATL FM Cape Coast, KTU in Koforidua, and Radio Max, Takrade, Lolonyo FM Hohoi, A1 Radio, Dreams FM in Bolgatanga, Jubilee Radio, Keta. You can go digital on Twitter, Facebook, and the MindJoy online app. And coming up, Ghana National Chamber of Pharmacy warns of an impending collapse of the pharmaceutical industry, resulting in shortage of medicines, as they say the current economic challenges have rendered businesses battling to stay afloat.
Interest in continuous investment in official and approval pharmaceutical business is waning. Very soon, a sizable number of industry players may be forced to fold up or lay off staff.
We have details as the group demands payment of money owed the industry by government to avert what could be a health crisis. Also, Deputy Trade Minister questions Guta's real motive in the shop's closure standoff as he accuses the union of acting in bad faith in day 2 of the standoff.
As if you have a motive that we don't understand, but there are other motives that we may not know. Government has shown commitment to it. I mean, clearly, government has shown good faith. They have to tell us.
But Guta says the action has no political influence.
I'm very principled. Guta is non-political. We are just so focused on our business.
We'll bring you the very latest from Washington, D.C. on government talks with the IMF. Meanwhile, the Ghana cedi continues to depreciate to the dollar, now just 13 cedis at 25 pesos after crossing the mark just a few days ago. We'll bring you details. And public sector workers send strong warning to government not to include Tier 2 pension contributions of workers in any debt restructuring program.
The pressure that this on the restructuring of Ghana's debt to affect public sector pensions cannot be phantom. If the government was to pursue the restructuring of Ghana's debt by touching pension funds placed in government security, it will be tantamount to deceit.
We have details coming up in sports.
Ashanti Gold and the GFA return to court today as the fight to lift an injunction on the Ghana Premier League continues. We have details of what transpired in court.
And later on the midday news, big day at the National Science and Maths Quiz competition in Kumasi as Accra Academy vows to scuttle Presec's ambition of extending their lead on the trophy table.
And the reason is very simple: to harness our 7th trophy and then move on.
We have details of that quarter-final clash between Accra Academy Pope John's and Presec this afternoon. Thanks for choosing us. Joy News, independent, fearless and credible. Many thanks for choosing us. I'm Ernest Manu. This afternoon, there are loud alarm bells indicating an impending crisis capable of affecting lives and the health of the nation. The Ghana National Chamber of Pharmacy says the pharmaceutical industry is on the verge of collapse as a result of the current economic challenges. It has therefore decided to provide medicines solely on cash basis. This will have dire consequences for supply of medicines, particularly for Ghana's National Health Insurance Scheme, which largely operates on credit basis. William Edum Addo has been speaking on behalf of the group at a news conference.
The effect of medicine prices will not only result in challenges with medicines availability and accessibility, but most importantly, the quality of life of Ghanaians. Because we all know health is wealth. They cannot afford the resultant high cost of medicine. On the industry front, interest in continuous investment in official and approval pharmaceutical business is waning. Very soon, a sizable number of industry players may be forced to fold up or lay off staff. This becomes a dangerous recipe for criminals to engage in their nefarious activities and flood the market with fake and substandard products, which eventually tends to compromise quality and efficacy of medicine, thereby putting the health of all Ghanaians at risk. The National Chamber of Pharmacy, the Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association of Ghana, and Pharmaceutical Importers and Wholesalers Association of Ghana therefore call for an immediate action to save the industry.
Let's go to the phone lines now and speak to Joseph Akable, who is at this news conference for us. Joseph, first of all, run us through the measures that the Chamber intends to implement and the demands they're making of government.
In terms of the demands of government, they want government to urgently pay all outstanding debts, and they also say that they will be operating on a cash basis. And in terms of the impact, they are asking various health facilities to ensure that they take loans from banks and use as seed money to provide buy medicine purely on cash basis.
All transactions with immediate effect shall be on cash basis until the economy stabilizes. I want to repeat. No credit policy for all buyers in the industry. All transactions with immediate effect shall be on cash basis until the economy stabilizes. Recommendation. The NHIS and all private health insurance companies are encouraged to give accredited facilities seed funds to buy medicines on cash for supplies to patients under the schemes. All end-user institutions, thus retail pharmacies, private hospitals and clinics, are encouraged to secure loans from banks to buy medicines on cash. The Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning should release funds immediately to pay for long-standing debts over 9 months and to push to clear all overdue debts. The Ghana Statistical Service is advised to include medicines among the baskets of items used for the Consumer Price Index, CPI calculation. Such an adjusted CPI will display a better inflation rate for planning and strategy for the pharmaceutical sector.
William Edum Ado there, speaking on behalf of the Chamber of Pharmacy. Away from health, let's focus on trade now. The Deputy Trade and Industry Minister, Michael Beff, is questioning the real motive behind the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, decision to close shops, despite what he describes as government's commitment to fix the issues. The strike in protests against a high cost of doing business enters day 2 today. The group says the 6-day closure of shops is aimed at piling pressure on government to act quickly. But Mr. Befi, who is government lead negotiator in the impasse, is reading other meanings into it. More on him shortly. My colleague Michael Ashale visited some business areas in Accra and joins me in the studio. Michael, where exactly were you and what did you find?
So I started off from Oprah Square, the heart of GUTA members. You arguably find more of them there than anywhere else. So I started from there, then moved to the where you get spare parts from, and then I came finally to Tiptoe Lane.
And you spoke to some stranded shop owners.
Yes, so I spoke to some of them. Some of them have been roaming the market effortlessly, trying to get something to buy. There was a gentleman who was looking for the earth rod, but he couldn't find one. And when he found one, it was at an exorbitant amount of money.
Seriously speaking, it's very frustrating. Traders are so united this time around to express how serious it is on how the economy is so impacting them, and it's very frustrating. Very, very frustrating.
I mean, how long did it take you to get what you came to buy?
Honestly, I was here yesterday evening to pick this. I couldn't make it, and this morning I had to wake up at dawn, and as at this time, before I was able to get this, I had to go from one shop store to another. Of course, the owners are there, but they refuse to sell. It's like I said earlier, it's very frustrating.
Very frustrating. So, on a normal day, if you came, how long would it have taken you to get your rod?
Within a twinkle of an eye, I would have gotten this. Very, very small. And they will even be chasing you. Come and buy from here, come and buy from this person. But this time around, you will never see that.
Did it cost you more?
Oh yeah. On a normal day, I would have gotten this at, say, 80 Ghana cedis. But this morning, I got it at 130 Ghana cedis.
Now, I mean, how long would you say you've been roaming to find a screen? What screen are you going to buy?
This one is Huawei Infinix, Huawei Mate 20 Pro. And then this one is Infinix Note 3.
How many shops have you gone to trying to find some to buy?
Almost all the shops. I have some the shop owners that I do call them. At times when I'm not in, I call them so that I'll verify if they have some.
So those are some shoppers who are stranded in Accra today as a result of Guta's strike. And Guta has made it clear that the shops will remain shut until Monday. But government is not enthused about it. Deputy Trade and Industry Minister Michael Ochibefi says there could be more to it than just the publicized reasons for the closure.
They engage the ministry, they engage the Ministry of Foreign Finance, they've engaged the Ghana Road Authority, they've engaged Bank of Ghana, they've engaged the National Security Ministry, they've engaged the Council of State. So what again have we to talk about? As if you have a motive that we don't understand. That is why a lot of people think that there are other motives that we may not know. Because if the motives are very clear and these motives will inure to the benefit of the country, and government has shown commitment to it, I mean, clearly, government has shown good faith. They have to tell us. Because the point is that, you see, if we have had discussion, okay, let me just say this. What will be the consequence? I mean, of this action that is taken. Government's position has been that we have to see the problems at the point of always now conceding, begging them, pleading with them to understand the situation. But they have been very strict with us. I mean, taking a very, tough position that they will not want to move a little.
But President of Guta, Dr. Joseph Obin, says the action taken was not influenced by political considerations.
Everything is on the membership. I do not have control over them. It's something that they are feeling the pinch and then they want to express it.
Is there any politics ever at play at your level when these decisions are made?
I'm very principled. Guta is non-political. That's why most times you see that our detractors, sometimes they will say that we are NDC, and some other times they say that we are MPP and all that. It means that we are just so focused on our business. That's the paramount thing for us. We have a problem at hand, and nobody should downplay it. It will help us. Let's find a pragmatic solution to solve this. Government should articulate its policy outline regarding this situation.
Well, at the heart of Guta's impasse is the state of the Ghanaian economy. Economist Dr. Theo Champon wants government to fast-track its negotiations with the IMF.
If you look at the currency, for me, I think the exchange rate really does boil down to a pure economic issue of demand and supply. The thing that I've been curious about is sometimes when there's an expected inflow of dollars into the system, it does tame the exchange rate a little bit. I remember, I think maybe it's been a month or 2 months ago, there was a $750 million. That didn't seem to move the currency market in terms of taming it down. The other thing that sometimes happens around October when the cocoa season is opened is the cocoa syndicated loan. And usually once that loan is secured and the inflows come in, it has a way of taming the exchange rate. I know they've been successful in raising that. I think it's 1.1 or 1. But again, you still don't see that slowing the depreciation. So that also doesn't seem to be, quote unquote, doing the trick. Perhaps at this point, it's either we are riding out the storm until we are able to secure a deal, a bailout with the IMF.
So you heard that rather, Dr. John Osai Kwapon with CDD and not Dr. Theo Champon. So where are we with the talks with the IMF? Joy Business Editor George Yafe monitored the talks in Washington, D.C. and brings us this update.
If you engage most of the officials from the perspective of the IMF, I mean, they are committed from their body language and everything. But if I should quote the director of the African department of the IMF, again, that will be dependent on government's willingness to implement those critical reforms that should come with the program. And therefore, if government is committed to undertake those reforms, and also what will be the outcome of the ongoing debt sustainability analysis, then maybe we could get a deal before the close of this year.
Joy Business Assistant Editor George Uyafit there. Meanwhile, the woes of the Ghana cedi continues. It has depreciated further to 13 cedis, 75 pesos to the US dollar. This is coming less than a day after it reached 13 cedis, which is equivalent to about 12% depreciation in just 4 days of this week. The local currency is also depreciating faster than the pound and the euro. Joy Business has been checking on this development in Accra. Editor Charles Nixon Yeboah joins me in the studio with details. Charles, what did you find?
Well, the situation currently is not pleasant at all. If you check the various forex bureaus as well as the retail market, clearly there is inadequate dollar in circulation, and that is really creating a lot of trouble within the business space. You know, if you do not have USD or foreign currency to trade, it affects your business operations in totality. Businesses at the beginning of the year plan and make decisions as a result of their forecasting, i.e. inflation, exchange rates, and what have you. So where we find ourselves currently, I believe that policymakers or the president must speak and reassure the public and the investing public that they are doing everything possible to bring the situation under control. As we speak, there had been some concerns, and the only solution for now is an IMF program. We saw this challenge in 2015, whereby there was a rapid fall in the cedi. But when the government then announced an IMF program, we saw a revision in terms of the depreciation cedi. However, this time around, that is not the situation. But we want to see the president and the policymakers coming out to reassure the public and the investing public that the situation will be addressed imminently. That is what we want to see for now.
Charles, thank you very much for bringing us those details. So the question is, what really can government do beyond the assurances, which is very important? Let's speak to a currency analyst, also an economist, Courage Boti. He joins us on the phone. Mr. Boti, it looks as if government is desperately waiting for the IMF program. Is that all we have as far as the solutions available to us are concerned?
Well, it's about availability of effects on the market relative to demand. That is what is driving it. Among the many economic issues we have that will be driving some of these things, I think we have now come to a stage where it appears individuals' actions, decisions are a big part of the free fall, really. I understand that investors want to move out of Ghana. I understand that corporates are importing for Christmas. I understand that we are in the seasonal demand period. But what is also clear is that a lot of people see dollar investment now as a worthy investment. And so, and the people are riding on this whole talk about a potential domestic debt restructuring. People are riding on the back of that. And the uncertainty creates that, okay, instead of going into some government or Ghana bonds or some treasury bills or stuff, I mean, let me just go into some dollars and stuff. And so the demand has kind of escalated on the market. The reason we are seeing the things we are doing now. I think the options now start with us as individuals to look ourselves in the mirror and say, if you bought dollars now and you are even making 50% return on it, the implication is that it will translate into higher prices on the market because the goods and services we bought, those that are imported, will reflect the prices really. Now, the savings you make or the returns you make on those dollar investments, as opposed to the prices you face on the market, will it be worth it? Because you just use back the same gain, which may not even be enough to pay for the higher cost of goods and services. So let's advise ourselves. Even if there will be debt restructuring, I do not think it will be as dire as we are actually reacting to. And it pays that we all wait for what the government will do. That is.
Well, thank you very much for your thoughts there. Economist and currency analyst Courage Boti speaking to us there. The Coalition of Public Sector Workers have warned government not to include their Tier 2 pension contributions as part of a debt restructuring program. We can hear from the Executive Secretary of CLOCSAC, Isaac Bampuado, who spoke for the group at a news conference today.
Considering the assurance given by the MPRA on the issue, it is still regrettable that the government will initiate such a policy without consulting the forum whose members are majority in the public services. The pressure that this information on the restructuring of Ghana's debt to affect public sector pensions cannot be phantom. If the government was to pursue the restructuring of Ghana's debt by touching pension funds placed in government securities, it will be tantamount to deceit of benefits envisaged under the three-tier pension scheme. Again, it would violate the provisions on preservation and protection of pension funds under the National Pensions Act.
Executive Secretary of Clocksack Isaac Bampo Addo there. Former Minister for Gender and Social Protection Nana Oye Bampo Addo says the circumstances that led to the 1948 riots in Accra are currently looming in Ghana. According to the past NDC appointee, the triggers that led to the historic protests can be seen across the country. On the 24th of February 1948, 3 unarmed ex-servicemen were shot during a protest. This infuriated other citizens who took part in the street protest to call out the colonial regime for its bad leadership and mismanagement. Speaking on the AM show on the Johnny's channel, the gender advocate said same anger that fueled the 1948 protest is lacking.
History is actually repeating itself, and it's very worrying that we actually now have the president of Ghana, Nana Akufo-Addo, booed at when he actually goes for public functions to perform his duties as a president. And that should tell us the story. It is very, very worrying in Ghana today, and it doesn't seem like government has a grip on the situation. We want to see some hope, and we want to see some solutions.
You had the former Gender and Social Protection Minister Nana Oye Bampo Addo. You're listening to the Midday News. You're on Joy 99.7 FM. We're taking a break. When we return, we'll take you to Sakumono, where the Greater Accra Regional Security Council has begun demolishing illegal structures at the Ramsar site to protect the wetlands areas and also prevent flooding. And it's a big day at the National Science and Maths Quiz Competition in Kumasi as Accra Academy vows to scuttle Presec's ambition of extending their lead on the trophy table.
And the reason is very simple: to harness our 7th trophy and then move on.
You want from your city. When you work late, treat yourself. Order a Glovo and enjoy jollof,
The effect
chicken
of
or
medicine
pizza.
prices
Or on
will
days
not
when
only
plans with friends run longer. Get your snacks and drinks from Glovo and keep the party going. No diapers left? Order a Glovo and save the day. With Glovo, you can order easily and track your delivery until it arrives at your doorstep. Download the Glovo app now. Order food, groceries, or anything you want. We deliver in minutes.
Thanks for staying with us here on the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM with me, Ernest Manu. Time now for sports, and Fentu Tari Fentu joins me in the studio.
Yes, Ashanti Gold and the GFA return to court today as the fight to lift an injunction on the Ghana Premier League continues. The judge has now fixed Tuesday, October 25, to hear the injunction application filed by the miners against the Ghana Premier League. Michelle Kwenu was in court for Joy Sports.
Unlike last Thursday, today the agenda of the Accra High Court was attended to. Today's hearing was to determine an application from Ash Gold to file a supplementary affidavit in support of their interlocutory injunction. After Ash Gold moved the motion on notice for the supplementary affidavit, the GFA raised no opposition to their decision, and as a result, the miners had their request granted by the Accra High Court. However, they have by close of today to submit their supplementary affidavit for the interlocutory injunction. And 5 days from today, on October 25th, the court will hear Ash Gold's case for the interlocutory injunction at 12 p.m.
Michelle Kwenu there, and the fight continues.
It appears this will be a protracted one.
It really
meanwhile, Heart of Oak has a new coach. We can't wait to get back so we
His
can
name
see
is
what he's capable of doing.
Slavko Matic.
Well, I need some rehearsal on that. Thank you very much, friends, for bringing us sports. Sound of earth-moving equipment demolishing illegal structures at the Ramsar site at Sakumono here in Accra. The exercise, championed by the Greater Accra Regional Security Council and led by the regional minister, is expected to stop the encroachment at the Ramsar site. This is also expected to protect the wetlands and the areas in order to prevent flooding. Also, the Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Benito Usubio, has explained the move has become necessary to avoid a crisis.
It is clear when you go there, you see the buildings or the structures that are sited in the waterway. Those are the ones we are concerned about. We've all seen how of late it's raining. We don't want what happened at Weja to happen over there because you know they are very close to the sea, and as such, a disaster can happen. So what they will do is that their concentration will be on those in the waterway, and that's all.
That's the Deputy Minister for Land and Natural Resources. Let's go live now and speak to Richard Kojonyako, who is with the team. Richard, how many structures are likely to go down?
Well, so dozens of them, they began pulling the walls or the fences that have been erected by the people. The Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister explains that they are not going to take the building now. So they are going to use this as an indication to the people that have built on the waterways so that next week they will start touching the actual building. So they are now tearing down all the walls that have been built along the watercourses at the Ramsar site here.
And earlier, there was some opposition to this exercise. What did you observe today?
Well, so there's been criticism. People were not sure whether all the buildings and all the structures were going to be tagged. They say that there are prominent individuals whose buildings or structures are also here, and they were not sure whether they are going to be tagged. But the Lands and Natural Resources Minister has indicated that everyone whose building is on the watercourse here at the Ramsar site here is going to be tagged. And so their fears have been allayed. They are now waiting for that thing to be done for all the structures, irrespective of whoever owns them, to be pulled down.
Thank you very much, Richard Kojonyako, for bringing us the latest. There we have more in our subsequent bulletins. Time now for the National Science and Maths Quiz. Accra Academy says it's determined to scatter Presec's ambition of extending their lead on the National Science and Maths Quiz Trophy table as they clash with the undisputed champions, Presec and Pope John's later today. But some old students of the reigning Greater Accra Regional Champions, Presec, Legon, say they can only fantasize about the idea as they hope to repeat the pain they caused them in 2017. We can hear from some of them.
If you prepare, God will not let us down. We are taking it contest by contest. As the saying goes, agroniform. So
agroniform. Yeah. Agroniform. So you beat Presec?
Yes.
Oh, you beat?
Yes.
Then they are not under pressure.
So that was rather an old student of Accra Academy. Let's now hear from Presec Legon.
And the reason is very simple: to harness our 7th trophy and then move on to defend it again. So that is the business we have to come and do here. So I don't want to call it a pressure at all, but we are ready for it. We are prepared for it.
Presec Legon, you say you're winning this one. Look for it. Yeah, but we should look for it for the 7th. Yeah. Okay. Not by my experience. Okay.
We believe the grace because we believe that the grace that can speak for us. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And remember, the contest will be live this afternoon at 4 p.m. on the Joy News channel and on Joy Prime. At 1 p.m., we'll bring you the live broadcast of the contest featuring Bishop Herman College, St. Francis Xavier SHS, and Kumasi High School.
The 2022 National Science and Maths Quiz is produced by Primetime Limited and is sponsored by the Ghana Education Service in partnership with APSA Ghana and supported by Goyle, Prudential Life Insurance, Airtel Tigo. The broadcast of the National Science and Maths Quiz on Joy News is supported by Virtual InfoSec Africa, Virtual Security Africa, Vitamilk, Cowbell, Alumni by Enterprise Life, Fatex Toilet Roll, Ace Medical Insurance, Azar Group, Kings Group Limited, Family Health Medical School, DBS, ZNZ, the Basto School, Koba, and Lumitrust.
And Smart App and NASCO are also part of our broadcast sponsors. That's it for the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM, which was also live on Twitter Spaces. Our top story this hour: Ghana National Chamber of Pharmacy warns of an impending collapse of the pharmaceutical industry, resulting in shortage of medicines, as they say the current economic challenges have rendered their businesses battling to stay afloat. We have more stories on myjoyonline.com. I'm Ernest Manu. Good afternoon.